Welcome to Handheld Gaming Reviews, a channel dedicated to reviewing and comparing the performance of games on handheld devices. If you enjoy this content, a like and subscribe will go a long way to helping the channel and keeping me motivated to make more videos. Before we get into it, while my video capture card isn't the cheapest on Amazon, it is still a cheap unit at $60 Australian. I bring this up as the quality docked looks a lot better than the screen captures you'll be seeing in this video. This channel has already surpassed my expectations with subscribers increasing every day, so I might just invest in a more professional capture card in future, but I'm going to make the best of what I have for now. So let's get into it. Hogwarts Legacy on the Steam Deck. On the Steam Deck, with Cryo utilities installed, the game runs pretty smooth across the board with mostly low settings. I have effects, material, texture, and view distance quality set to medium. I'll get into some more specifics and include a table towards the end of the video with my results. Changing the upscaling type will impact the visual quality, however the perceivable smoothness of the game remains fairly consistent throughout. The following is based on my personal opinion, and you may be able to tweak the settings to squeeze a little more out of the game or favour your preference for frame rates or fidelity. I've poured well over 20 hours of Hogwarts Legacy gameplay on the Steam Deck. This was my first AAA title that I bought for the deck. The experience was smooth, and while perhaps not the sharpest looking game, it still was more than playable. I also own the game on PS5, and the one thing I will say is it's clearly been optimized for console over PC from a graphical standpoint. I won't get into the specifics as I could probably do a whole video on that topic alone, and this video is about Hogwarts performance on handheld gaming devices. As the game is already set to low settings on the deck, the only variable I changed during my testing was the upscaling type. AMD FSR1, FSR2, NVIDIA's NIS, and the Intel upscaling. Set to their highest quality settings, all run at over 30 FPS, hovering around the 36 FPS mark. My personal preference is for AMD's FSR2, as to me the image looks sharpest with that upscaling type. Hogwarts Legacy on the ROG Ally. When I first started capturing footage, frame stutter on the ROG Ally was present throughout, which had me speaking to how important optimization was, at least in my first draft script. I was going to say that while the Ally runs at a higher average frame rate, the frame stutter is, or at least was, very distracting. Since the initial recording and retesting, I've seen a dramatic reduction. In fact, I don't really notice the frame stuttering at all on the Ally. I'm not really sure what to put this down to. I tried Googling the latest updates from the Ally and Hogwarts Legacy respectively, and I'm not sure if something's been updated in the last week or so. If anyone knows, please feel free to leave a comment below. Either way, performance on the Ally is now relatively smooth. The one thing I have changed thinking back is at some point during the week, I changed the video memory from 6GB to auto in the Armory Crate settings on the Ally. It's possible that this is the reason for my reduction in frame stutter. So before I get into the results, I have a few things to clarify. My testing at 30 watts is without any boosting enabled, at least as much as can be done through the Armory Crate tool. When you go into the graph data, I refer to frame dips as quote, not noticeable, unquote. By this, what I mean is how perceivable they were while I was playing, not how perceivable they might be while we're watching the footage post-session here. On both the Steam Deck and ROG Ally, I use the same graphic settings, mostly low settings with effect, material, texture, and view distance quality set to medium. Everything else is set to low. Last, and possibly the most important caveat, is while I've tested a number of different scenarios, my testing is by no means comprehensive. You'll notice, for example, at 1080p with 15 watt TDP, I only tested with AMD's FSR2. Having said that, hopefully I've run through enough tests to give you a good idea of how the game performs. On the whole, Hogwarts Legacy runs really well on the Ally, providing you with the ability to scale the graphics up and down depending on your preference, balancing fidelity with battery life. As with any title on the Ally, as a general rule, the higher the TDP in resolution, the faster you'll burn through your battery. You can expect around an hour or less with a 25 watt TDP. I tend to travel with a 20,000 mAh power bank. You'll get through a flight that lasts about an hour, plus your time on the tarmac while you're taxiing, and a little bit of time around the airport with no problem with this game. Any more than that, and you might want to consider playing the game at lower settings. One standout aspect of the Ally across the board is the screen. The combination of a more color accurate screen and VRR makes for a better looking experience on the whole, even when playing at low settings. At 720p with a 15 watt TDP, the game is certainly playable. With AMD's FSR2 set to quality, you'll see between 35 and 45 FPS with decent enough looking graphics and a relatively smooth experience. If playing at 1080p is more your speed, you'll want to play with a TDP higher than 15 watts. I tested at 25, which performed at or over 35 FPS on all upscaling types except Intel's, which did not perform well at all, hitting in the sub 30s. If you're playing in in handheld mode using FSR2 at 25 watt TDP, you'll hit between 35 and 45 FPS with good looking visuals. If you're playing docked and push the TDP up to 30 watt, well, I found about the same performance. So if you want a quieter experience, you could play it at 25 watt TDP docked. Having said that, you could probably tweak and squeeze some higher settings at 30 watt TDP while maintaining similar frame rates. If anyone has Hogwarts Legacy on the Ally and has tested the game at TDPs between 15 and 25 watts, please feel free to leave a comment below with your findings. I have seen on a number of videos now that 18 watt TDP on the Ally seems to be the sweet spot between performance and battery life. I personally haven't tested this game at 18 watts, so if you have, please let us know below. Here is a table of my testing results. As you might imagine, this took quite some time to run through, so if you've made it this far, a like would be awesome, and a subscribe would really make my day. Please feel free to pause the video here if you'd like a closer look at my numbers. Thanks again to everyone who's made it to the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.